happiness will bloom. And today we are on chapter 1, lesson number 6, page 22. The notion that our destiny is fixed leads to unhappiness. Is our destiny determined and controlled by some transcendental being, or is it somehow fixed at birth and unchangeable? These are matters that we usually don't think too much about. If, however, nothing goes well for us, no matter how hard we try, we are apt to think masochistically that we have been born under an unfortunate star, to resign ourselves to our fate, about which nothing can be done, or to wish to cling to some transcendental being, as the words "depending on the gods in time of trouble" suggest. But is our destiny in fact determined and controlled by something outside ourselves? Is it with us from birth and unchangeable? From ancient times, there have been those who subscribe to fatalism or determinism, believing that destiny is a thing fixed at birth. What time it will rain tomorrow is already determined. Whether you can get into the university of your choice is already determined, regardless of how much you study. Whether you can marry or not is determined from the time you are born. If you marry, your partner is already determined. These are fatalistic or deterministic ideas. Some 2,600 years ago, Shakyamuni completely rejected all such ideas as the false teaching of fatalism. In Buddhist terms, they are called Gedo, meaning outside the way of truth. Since such teachings go against the law of cause and effect, they lead human beings to unhappiness. The reason is that if our destiny is already set, then all our efforts and hard work become meaningless, and the will to make an effort disappears. Some may say that the decision to make an effort or not is itself predetermined, but that reasoning makes us even less likely to try to exert ourselves. That is why Shakyamuni rejects the idea of determinism, which makes us weak and listless. He declares instead that our destiny can be radically changed through our own actions. In fact, though, even those who say that everything is predetermined study the night before a test because they believe that the act of studying may change the outcome of the next day's test. If they get sick, they go to the hospital because they believe that the act of receiving treatment there will aid in their recovery. They go to their place of work, unpleasant though it may be, because they do not want to be fired. They believe that going to work and doing their jobs well will ensure the security of their livelihood. If our destiny were already fixed, then the result would be the same whether we studied or not, went to the hospital or not, and did our jobs well or not. Everything we did would be meaningless. But no one lives his or her life that way. Everyone believes that his or her actions now will affect tomorrow, and that is absolutely true. How then do our actions give rise to happiness or unhappiness in our lives? In the next chapter, we'll talk about the law of cause and effect in relation to our lives as preached by Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, and there is a little cartoon at the bottom too, which is very funny. We all know ants work very hard usually in groups, but in this cartoon, there is one ant on the left side with a drop of tears in his eye, and he's singling himself out, staying isolated, and letting a sigh, saying, It was fated to turn out this way. There's nothing to be done. So let's say there's a tragedy or misfortunate thing happening, and some people just throw their hands up in the air and they think this is their fate. It was meant to be this way, and there's nothing to be done. If there were cause and conditions behind that misfortunate event, okay, that happened inevitably. But how we respond to it, we have a choice, don't we? So other friends, they're hard at work with the shovel trying to dig a hole. And one of them is saying, quit complaining and help me get this fixed. So if you're just complaining and complaining, that's not going to solve any problem. Why don't you help us get this fixed? At least we are doing damage control or minimizing the harm from spreading. That there's so much we can do. So this is how learning Buddhism actually it motivates us to do a lot of analytical meditation, which means we sit down, meditate, and analyze, why did this happen? Why am I suffering? Um, what is the cause of it or the bad conditions? Maybe I am living with roommates and they all smoke cigarettes, for example, and then every day I suffer from headaches. So that's a bad condition. Am I doomed to be there forever and suffer forever? If I think that's my fate, yeah, then maybe I'll be doomed. But if I realize I can change my fate, fate means my future. My future is in my own hands. So I can be proactive and look for a healthier place to live in or find better roommates who don't smoke cigarettes. In case, because many people might have allergy to cigarette smoking, so to the smoke. So this is how we can choose where we put ourselves in order not to get the bad effects. Yeah, so that's how we change the conditions. And also we can change the causes, which is how we see things, our perspective or point of view. What can we do now to fix a problem? There are so many things that come to the mind, and also the more people we talk with and consult with and open our mind to their wisdom, we can see solutions that were not available to us before. So that's another benefit of reaching out and having a lot of communications with people from all walks of life in order to learn something from everyone, and so that we can get a holistic view of why we struggle in life and what we can do about it. So good job everyone for dedicating this time to this practice for our mental health and spiritual growth.